A very good evening to our viewers. Welcome to ELITETV and you're watching Open Debate in English. I'm your host, Chongtham Amrita, bringing you this topic, the Manifesto War, for this episode. The polling for the Inner Manipur parliamentary seat is on the 19th of April, which is just 11 days left. The Indian National Congress has released their manifesto just a few days ago, and immediately they faced some criticism from the BJP. They charged the INC of indirectly supporting the separate administration for the cookies. However, the INC candidate Dr. Bimal Akoijab refuted the BJP charges. However, the state BJP, neither the central BJP, has not released their manifesto or the vision document, as they call it. Only after both the major political parties release their respective manifestos to the public, the people can analyze and choose their candidate. This will be the theme of today's debate. To discuss on this matter, our panelists are joined with us through social media, through online media. Our first panelist for tonight is Oja P. Sonamani, socio-political commentator. Welcome to Open Debate, Oja Sonamani. And thank you. And our second panelist for tonight is Oja Rinku Khumukcham, editor, Imphal Times. Welcome to Open Debate, Oja Rinku.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Oja Sonamani. Why is there such a delay from the BJP, both from the center and the state BJP, to release their manifestos or the vision document, as they call it? Why is there such delays? Because the Indian National Congress has already released it, and are they even in the last election they waited for the last minute to release their manifesto? So, is it a strategy? What do you think about this, Oja Sonamani?
Good evening, Amrita. Thanks for inviting me and my colleague, Rinku, one of the renowned journalists in Manipur, and also to the world who are listening. I bow my head to you. This is the election euphoria, particularly in Manipur, of course, entire in the country. We are much concerned about the Manipur present situation and the Manipur present election. I must say that as you have desired to know that why the Bharatiya Janata Party, now the manifesto, they have not yet published or announced. This is, of course, you are right. See, they are in the government. Maybe they have got a very, very well planned and a meticulous plan, and after published by the Congress and by other groups, perhaps they would like to go more in detail, and they would like to publish, or after meticulous there are calculations. So in any way that BJP must be intending to win this the present seat, especially in the inner parliamentary seat. So they have got their own plan, and I hope that within 1 or 2 days they will come out. But we people, we public, we really would like to know as early as possible, because we are also more curious than to the candidate, because this is a very, very crucial and this is one of the most important issues. The several issues have to be taken up by the winning candidate from the valley and from the inner parliamentary seat. Unlike before, all the past MPs, unlike before, MPs were elected from the inner parliamentary seat. So this is their will. Since they have a little more time, perhaps they are buying their time and to come up with the several of the postmortem of the Congress and the other parties' issues. So they would like to come out in a very, very what they feel themselves that may be a perfect way where they can convince the voters, or they can win. This is their plan. But the early is better now. Now it is hardly a few days long. Now this is, in fact, the Amrita, to be very frank, anyone who is selected has got their own target, their own program. Sometimes they're from Manipur, from other state, NPA, and like others, like from like the Chinese or other parties. But this time nobody has come up except the INDIA and this NPF. So this will be the triangular fight. What our two parties they will clash in each other. But whatever might be the reasons, we are eagerly. So actually, we are not very keen. Initially, we were not very keen. Since what the government of India says that there is a constitutional obligation is there. But the other parts of the country, and considering the Manipur prevailing situations, we thought of the government of Manipur hearing getting killed, so many innocent people, 60,000 days, people who have lost their near and dear one, their own family members, who are having in their own state, having in their own house, their own property, their own land. They are not permitted, as they had to run for their lives. So government of India could not protect. So also the Manipur government could not protect. We are really frustrated, and there are a lot of the hard people, the thousands of people, they have vehemently protested by saying that they will not go for the polling. They will not poll. They will not go. So this is the very loud voice. This has been coming up. We do not know what will be the ultimate result, because people are not happy. Apparently, this is an imposition on the part of the government of India to Manipur people, particularly we the valley people, because we are the victim. We wanted that first the solutions should be there, then the election should go. But now the election should be first, the solutions might come later on. This is the, two-prong their own policy and the program. So, majority of people are not happy. Since we are an Indian and we are abided and we are ought to follow the Indian constitutions. So as such, we are liking or disliking, this is a secondary issue. So we are ought to follow as per the Indian constitutions. Otherwise, by and large, people are not happy, are not at all very keen to go and poll and to participate in these forthcoming elections. So we are frustrated people. So we are keenly watching and requesting the government of India, they should do something where we can live peacefully and cohesively and we can breathe properly. This is what our earnest request to the government of India. But apparently government of India has not done anything much for satisfaction. This is what my first round.
Sonamani, basically you mentioned that the BJP is basically buying their time and in order to win this election, especially in the Indian parliamentary seat of Manipur. On that, I will move on to Rinku. That do you think that Rinku, the manifestos are important for Manipur in relation with Manipur especially? Because just to take an example, in the last assembly election in Manipur of the 2017 assembly election, the BJP brought out a manifesto and they mentioned a metro rail service for the valley areas. And again in the 2022 assembly election, again the BJP brought out a vision document and they repackaged the name of metro rail service and forgot all about it, and they mentioned foothill to foothill rail service. But as we can see, none of them have been realized in action. So in this regards, I would like to know from you, does manifestos have any meaning in Manipur, or are they just election gimmicks or just false promises? What do you think? Rinku, your mic is off.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you now.
I'm audible?
Yeah.
Manifestos are promises. These are promises. It is not necessarily that there is an obligation to these promises. There are cases in the High Court or the Low Court which already told that whenever there is a election manifestos that the people that the political parties or the candidates should fulfill it. Many argument has been taken place on that. It is not necessary that a political party should follow whatever they promises ahead of the election, and it is not mandatory that the election manifestos they have promises ahead of the election should be fulfilled. There is no any such thing that it should be fulfilled. So to me, election manifesto is a public declaration of the intention and motives of the policies of the political parties or candidates standing for election. Not necessary that whatever they promises, it should be fulfilled. So it is the intent of the government. It is the intent of the candidate who is content, or it is something that he wanted to deliver for the people. There might be some obligation regarding the implementation of whatever he had promises ahead of the election because of the situation that emerges ahead of him. So we cannot simply consider whatever promises in the election manifesto should be implemented to the public. It is not to the when we talk about the promises they made ahead of the election, if it has not been fulfilled, then we don't have a reason to. There is definitely a reason that we don't have to believe them, but it depends on. It is a promises ahead of the election, and after the election, it comes. If they are not going to fulfill what they have made before the election, then it is up to the people to decide on whether they have to be re-elected or not. It is a matter of trust between the people and this candidate. So we cannot simply assume that this election pre-poll promises as it is mandatory to be implemented after the poll. It is a matter that people should examine. If they don't implement whatever they have promises ahead of the poll, then if they are not going to implement, they don't have the caliber to implement it in the aftermath of the election. After the outcome of the election, then it definitely means that they don't deserve to be in the position. That is it is the people that have to be decided whether they have to be re-elected or not. So when you ask the question about they have promises this thing, that thing, but there are some things that have been delivered to the people. When they promises about the metro rail, they have already started fulfilling the people's aspirations of connecting the people of this land with the outsiders. That is with the outside Manipur. There is there is a connection between a rail connection between Khongsang and Jiribam. In a couple of last a few years during COVID period, there has been a connection, and we have to appreciate those things. It doesn't necessarily mean that the promises made about what you say that metro rail project and all similar kind of things that promises. We have to see the vision should be large. You cannot reach the sky. When you attend your tea with the bamboo tips only, you have to try to reach out from the sky if you want to reach the tips of the bamboo tree. So these are promises. We have to accept these things, and there is no reason that we should not we should not thought this. We should not keep aside these political parties who have promises. They have tried to fulfill something. Their promises are some things that can be adjusted with the people of the state. It does not necessarily mean that when the election promises are not fulfilled, then we should throw them away. There is some reason that we have to believe that they have done something, but still then, to me, what we should come to make our decision is that when there is a promises made ahead of our election, and if they fail to fulfill our promises, then it will be decided in the next election, not necessarily that we are being deprived. We have the power to, we show them that if you have failed your promises, we have the power to overthrow you from the seat. This has to be kept in mind, and this is my answer to your first question.
That you have summarized that election manifestos is not necessarily, there is no hard and fast rules for the candidate after election to fulfill them, but then they can if they wanted to, but then it shows the intention of the candidate and also a kind of a promise to the voters. So I'll move on to Oja Sonamani, that as we have just heard Oja Rinku stating his opinions. How much do you think the manifestos of a candidate or a political party will swing the votes in their way? Because it could also be counterproductive to them, and it could also work in favor of them regarding votes. So where do you stand in here, and what is your opinion regarding this? Oja Sonamani, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm finding a little inconvenient because of my
okay, I wanted to know from you that, do you think the manifestos released by the candidates will swing the votes in their favor or not?
Inefficiency. I could not, set in the right way. But anyway, I'm just hearing a little. So would you kindly repeat me once more, please? I beg pardon
no
for
problem.
that.
Sonamani, I wanted to know from you if the election manifestos released by the candidate or the party would swing the votes in their favor or not.
Oh yes.
Okay. Okay, please continue.
Yeah. Manifesto is being prepared due properly scrutiny and after due considerations, a lot of calculations and what the voters, they would like to woo their votes, they would like to convince, they would like to please by providing a lot of their policy program. Even after there are a lot of policy programs which will be their promise, which they normally promise to give the benefits to the poor people. Yet in many occasions we have seen that even the political stalwart, by saying in a very loud voice, a very astute the political parties and the leaders, still many times they could not come up. Even in the past Congress and even in other many parties too. So now this is the manifesto. Normally the meticulous calculations, policy programs, etc., etc. They must have been prepared it, but normally this is the procedure, and hope that anyone who wishes to be a candidate for himself too, and for the parties like BJP, like the Congress, like the India's major these political parties, they must have a lot of their calculation, but sometimes manifesto also doesn't help. So example, in India, or the BJP, without any manifesto too, rather in the publishing, without the publishing the manifesto is the certain things what they were going to implement, certain things what kind of that they are going to get benefited to the poor people, and the certain policy program, foreign policy, Indian GDP, then the Indian the what I'll call the International Monetary Funds, the project, policy, program, this, a lot of things they would like to project, they would like to please. This is true. But even after doing two, in the past, in the Congress ruled for several decades, yet many times they fail it. But it depends. It is not only with the policy programs or the manifesto now. In our state or even in the national the arena, in the politics, even Mr. Modi, now people are voting not for BJP, if I am correctly understood. It is only for the Mr. Modi. He is being considered to be free from corruption, and he is then he works more than 18, 19 hours in a day. In this the last 1 month, 1.5 months, the way he's traveling north, south, east, west, abroad, and without sleep, so without sleeping, without any rest, the amount of the labor, the amount of his hard work, what we can see, it is not the BJP. It is the only Mr. Modi. Even in the south, you can kindly have a look the Tamil Nadu and Kerala, who have the BJP earlier got hardly 4 to 5%. Now this time, what we see that a lot of the improvement has taken place, even in the south, particularly which are mostly the anti-Hindi type or the sometimes anti-Hindu up to some extent. A Hindu becomes an anti-Hindu. That kind of a system, that kind of behavior also was meted out. Suddenly this time a lot of changes will place. So manifesto is another thing, but the party's leader like Indira Gandhi earlier, like Jawaharlal Nehru, like Mr. Modi at this moment, in this two tenure in his political career as Prime Minister, I think we are going to see, people are going to see what is not the BJP, what the Mr. Modi government is going to implement and is going to fulfill the aspirations of the people. That is what the people. But normally what I feel is, normally people see that, oh, manifesto published a lot of things, a lot of promises which becomes false, which they cannot fulfill, which they cannot fulfill, and ultimately they've gone promising a lot of things. Say in Bihar, example, Bihar, a lot of the huge 35, 40, 45 MPs are there. A lot of the former chief minister, a lot of railway minister means from Bihar only, including the Nitish, then including Mr. Jagat Narayan, so on. So railway department belongs to the Bihar only. 90% of the ministers are from Bihar only for Indian Railway. That they promised a lot of things, but still they cannot convince the voter. That's why, if I'm allowed to say that Nitish Kumar, he goes on jumping, he goes on rather changing his color like a chameleon from one party to another party, leave another party to another party. He just left the last couple of months before from the BJP. Then again he joined again like that. So many things. So manifesto, it is simply in a developed countries. The manifesto plays a very pivotal role and very not run away, and they have to fulfill it. But in India, we consider that this sometimes it becomes like false promises, because and the people are also not very much worried. So what I feel, in my personal own opinion, I would like to opine is that manifesto doesn't matter much. Manifesto doesn't matter much. Only we are going to see how they are going to administer cleanly and sincerely and peacefully, how they can function, how they can restore the peace in Manipur. Of course, 1 or 2 words will be implemented. How 1 or 2 words? Definitely, it will be. Definitely, they are going to work hard. Whatever they publish it. But a lot of 20, 30 points will do this thing, that it has never fulfilled. Out of 100, maybe 20, 30%, remaining 50, 67, the person, say example, government has said that Jiri, the Imphal to Jiri, this road will make a 2-lane, 4-lane, 6-lane, 7 rough lane, that they will be in a position to land in the road. So it said, sir, this is ridiculous. Government should not have given such kind of statement. I'm sorry, statement. So which have never, last 75, 80 years onwards, Jiri's road has never improved. So question does not arise about the landing of the aircraft in the Jiri road. So this becomes ridiculous. So this kind of promises, this kind of words from the horse's mouth should not have been spelled out. So Amrita, what I personally feel, in their manifesto, Congress manifestos, or you have seen already, now the BJP, we are waiting manifesto, we'll do this thing, we'll that this thing, we'll take you in the sky. will all of you make an educated, the educated ladies and the gentlemen will construct this thing, that thing. This is a natural phenomenon, or rather in a simple way. And my humble submission, sometimes to fool the people when they will not be able to fulfill it. So example, FMR. Mr. Rinku will be able to highlight you more in detail. Last 75 years onwards, FMAR, the movement reason. 16 years. We have constructed hardly 5, 10, 20 kilometers only. Now the 3, 4, 5, 6 and 600 this kilometers, the government of India promised that we'll do it in a rocket race manner, by God. When? In the last 75 years, hardly only few kilometers. Then after that, they stop it. So this kind of promise, yes, we will try to, this FMR, we will stop it and we will fence because of these certain problems. We will try our best. This is really good word. I feel personally in my own poor language. So, but no, sir, no, though we'll do it this time within no time, we'll make it a heaven, this thing, that thing, this aeroplane, we are trying to get it land in the Jiribam road, etc., etc. This kind of becomes a, laughing stock and ludicrous.
Yes.
So I don't believe.
Yes.
So I hope.
Yeah. Basically, Sonamani, you wanted to say that even sometimes during while publishing the manifestos, the claims and the promises are so huge, so big that it becomes difficult for the ruling government or after winning to fulfill them. So moving on, I'll come back to you again in the next round, Oja Sonamani. Now moving on to Oja Rinku. Regarding the independent candidates, why is there a trend for the independent candidates that they do not release any of their manifestos? Because even as a candidate, the people who wants to vote for them, they need to know, well, what are their intentions? Because earlier you mentioned that these manifestos are usually the intention of the party or the candidate of what they want to do when they win the election. So why are the independent candidates not releasing manifestos, and why are these mostly we see it as a party-based event? Oja Rinku, you're on mute again.
Okay, thank you. As I have already told you that election manifesto is a promises by the candidate that what they will do in the future if they have been elected, what are their intention and what they are hoping to do. These are the intention of a candidate in an election, either it may be a panchayat election or a assembly election or a Lok Sabha election. It's such a last stage. What we have to understand is that when it comes about a big political parties like the Indian National Bharatiya Janata Party, which is one of the biggest party in the world. So when it comes, on their way, when they started contesting the election, they have to put forward with what are their policies for the benefit of the societies. So naturally, it comes that when an Indian National Congress fail a candidate, they have to bring up with an issues, with an promises that what are they going to do for the whole of a society. That promises, it's been compiled and then given out in the form of text, and then it becomes a manifesto. This is the manifesto. They definitely have the right to bring out the manifesto. These are the things generally going on here. For every political parties, which which require for the whole of the people, then whole of India, they back decision that so that their promises ahead of the poll doesn't affect to the smaller communities which they are fighting for. This is called the manifestos. This is called the political promises they made ahead of the election, so that people judge whether what they are thinking is applicable to the society or not. People came to justify it, and then people voted in that way. So election manifesto is something that big political parties often go to the public ahead of the election. When it comes to the independence political party, independence candidate, they often come up with the local issues. They only promises only for the local issues, and everything has been encircled about the local issues, and it doesn't necessarily compel them to publish a book. They simply need something to promise to the people ahead of the election. They will say something for the benefit of the grassroots people whom they stand for, not necessarily for the whole of the nation. India, already is a diverse nation, and Manipur in particular is a diverse nation, which is very equivalent to the Indian structure. And when a political party stood up, they have to think about whole of the nation, whole of the state. And when an independent candidate raises the issue, it doesn't definitely suit that they go for the whole of the nation. They simply targeted for the specific things that they require for garner of the electorate. For that reason, I think that the independent political party does not, publish election manifesto. Instead of that, their promises to the people, their promises is equivalent to the publication of election manifesto. That is what my opinion. Whether someone, people might not like my reaction, but that is what I understand from what is happening, from what has been experienced in me since the last couple of 20 years or something like that.
Yes, and also, Rinku, one supplementary question from you. Do you think that the number of independent candidates this time in Manipur is in number of threes, which is a little bit higher than expected? So do you think, is it because of the anti-incumbency with the ruling BJP, and also for the sentiments of some groups of people who do not want any national party to rule over, so to speak, in Manipur? So do you think it is because of that?
No, actually what happened in the Manipur society is that people do not want to go for with someone independently. They actually, every one of them really tried for someone who is a political party. Either it might be a regional party or a national party. They almost tried for that. For that reason, some of the independent candidate, two of the independent candidates, let me be frank, they tried for the regional political party, which is in conflict among the political party. The political party, which is a regional party, they cannot, they exist by namesake, and then they are not being recognized by the Election Commission of India. There is the reason for, some of the candidates have been compelled to file their nomination as independent candidate, even though they have tried their candidature as an independent, regional political party. So what actually I am thinking is that the rise of the independent candidate, not necessarily because of the what is happening in the state of Manipur. Everybody thinks that they are full of frustration among the people, and then some with a caliber of contesting, challenging the who have the potential of challenging the ruling regime. They come out in the form of candidature. These are the candidates who started challenging the ruling regime, thinking that they are spoiling the community, your society of the state, and then not necessarily they also consider that they even after knowing that there is no means of winning the election, they simply file their candidature to show the people, to show the government, to show the dissenting voice that they are against these. That is why the number of independent candidates are on the rise, and I think that this will keep on going, and the coming election or any other election, there will be more people contesting from as an independent candidate, because they have their own choice of thinking. They have their own way of thinking. I mean,
yes, they are not influenced by the national party aspirations, or maybe we do need to restructure a regional party, a strong regional voice in Manipur as well. So on that note, I'll move on from you to Oja Sonamani again. So Oja Sonamani, we have just heard from Oja Rinku. I'd like to know from you that regarding the election manifestos, and we have heard about the candidates, their intentions and promises. So what if a particular candidate is won over, maybe he got elected after, maybe he got elected, he wins, and he is elected as a representative to the Lok Sabha. And what if his promises are not fulfilled? How can we hold him accountable? How can we make sure that his promises are just not to win votes, but also we expect him to take actions, his promises? As Rinku previously mentioned, that these are not necessarily to be fulfilled. They can if they want to. And the people, they have voted because of the manifestos or those promises. So is there any method or measures to hold these candidates after winning the election accountable by the public? Sonamani.
Amrita,
yes.
in Indian, our constitutions, we have no such kind of the systems or the rules that the one can be if he does not fulfill, or if the party does not fulfill, or that party is to be de-identified, or that the MP be expelled. Though there's no such kind of thing. This is the biggest drawback in Indian constitutions. Indian constitutions is one of the big and the largest one. And the volume is so big in the world. Indian constitutions is very beautifully elaborated. Everything is written very nicely, but implementation, the part is hardly anything. So before the elections, they can promise anything as per the fundamental rights being rather given to them. They can say anything, whatever they want. Either they fulfill or not, that after the elections, that we cannot go and pull his leg. Even the constitutions cannot expel him. Only that we can express our displeasure, just like a madman. This is the biggest advantage for anyone who tries to befool us and try to dodge us. They know. Just before the elections, they will bow down everything, they'll promise everything, they'll weep it, they will cry it, they will touch your feet, they will try to maneuver by the money. Although we have not seen it, but it has been going on last for 17, 80 years. But 90% are not being fulfilled. This is and yet we are helpless. They know that just before the election, let me be their servant. For 1 month, doesn't matter. But I'll be having more than 1,700 days. I'll be king once I'm elected. I'll be the king. Now today, let me be servant of the people. So let me tolerate it. But of course, not all. There are few very negligible people, like the Communist Party's leader, like some other, say the Assam's, the chief ministers, like the Arunachal Pradesh chief minister, like even the Mizoram chief minister, then like some other states, they take it very serious way. Say Kiran Rijiju, he said within his 5 years his tenure as a minister, he could manage to establish the 3 airport. When Prayarov is taking over as a cabinet minister, there was not even a single airport in the Arunachal Pradesh, a big state. Today there are 3 airports. There are several big railway bridges which are connected to the Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh is one of the most backward states in India. One of the big states in the northeast next to Assam. But they have not been collected, they have not been facilitated with the proper roads and the bridges. But today, of course, the India government's blessing, of course, the leadership of the quality, sincerity, and the credibility of the ministers or the MP concerned, and his proximity with the government, head of the government. This is another factor. Our honorable MP, most widely respected MP, when they go to in the parliament, out of 543, he is another one, because he tries to act like a god and goddess to चुपचाप खामोश रहो, चुपचाप हमको कुछ बोलना नहीं. I'm just as good as a god and goddess. So let me behave like a Bhagavan. That is the reason that today we are in the hell. And those backward state, what we used to term, even the Tripura is in a much advanced state than to the so-called Manipur that erstwhile an independent country. It depends on the leadership, it depends on the not on the party, it depends on the Manipur citizen, our initiative. We are being blamed that many of our leaders are highly corrupted. Can any honorable MP or can any minister deny my discharges to you? What the people have been spelling it, what the people have been blaming in it. It has become like a cycle which we cannot change it, because it is so deeply rooted that you distribute money, you distribute rice, you give it clothes, you do a favor for them, and you buy only for 1 month. You work hard. Remaining the 4 years and 11 months, you will be the king of the kings, so that you don't have to listen anything, and nor we have any accessibility to them. And forget about the explanation. No, they will be the rajas. If this is the tendency of Manipur, which we have been following it last the 10 decades. What we can expect from the government of India, and what we can expect to see that Manipur develops like any other advanced state. This is the people know. Our people, we are too handicapped. We know. Once the boat is casted, you see, in the evening you invite them, they will not come. Why they should come? Because they know that either I will be in the heaven or I will be in the hell. So why should I go? My approach and whatever I had to seek help from them, I have already done it. Now this is my time. This is the feeling. So our advanced, our developed countries, they are the election system and their constitutions and their mindset is quite different. They talk less, they work more. They don't try to fool the people. This is the drawback. We know we talk too much. One thing I should appreciate, with the permissions of the Amrita, sure. I must say that I am neither a BJP, nor I have hardly visited their office. Once I visited what is BJP office, so also the Congress office, I visit, I see them, I talk to them. This present honorable Prime Minister, he apparently, what we see, whatever he said, he is a time bound. Anything, what he says that he had spoken one word, of course in Hindi, but let me narrate you whatever the English little poor knowledge what I have, let me put up before you. If I am wrong, please pardon me, Mr. Rinku and Amrita.
Yes.
He said that, Prime Minister, he said that, I don't see that tomorrow what I do it, what I speak is, I don't see that it should come out in the headlines of the newspaper. Rather, I am worried that whatever the task I have given and assigned or attributed to the department and to the person concerned is that deadline does not go out. Headline and the deadline, he said. That he spoke in Hindi, and whatever I know, my little English knowledge, I have just put up before the mass people. He said, I am not worrying what I am doing, the photo, uthao, ye karo, ye publish karo. No. I am not worrying about the headlines, what they carry, what they pass my remark. I will go and persistently do my own works. Let the poor people see the JNK completely, how it was changed. Just 2 years before I was in Kashmir. I was visiting in many places. By God, the way the developmental activities was taking place. Horrible, horrible. In the midst of the firing, in the midst of the kidnapping, in the midst of the butchering people. But today what we see in the TV, by God, that the way JNK completely changed, completely changed. So what he said is, it's a good thing. So our leaders, our Honorable Chief Minister, can I appeal to you? And also our Honorable MLAs and and others, the government paraphernalia who were working in
in a very, very high responsibilities post. There is a transparency a word, what I learned it. That transparency should be from the top. Transparency should not be from the bottom. So we have to learn your discipline, your way of your function. Yeah, you should be free from the corruption. Of course, when I say this free from corruption, perhaps I may not become and the pull up by the police, because this is something never heard it in Manipur. Without corruption, Manipur, we cannot breathe. This is what the people talk. You go to school, there is a corruption. When you go to office, there is a corruption. When you talk to some other, some other departments, some of the agencies, there is a corruption. The table ke niche, table ke upar baya dana, aapko daya dana, this kind of things. We have imported a lot of things, bad things from the mainland India. So we request you, the present government or the present MP, whosoever will be elected, we want the transparency. You must have the quality to say, our government, whosoever, even the Congress or the BJP or the Janata, whatsoever were there, why we are not in a position to talk to the Prime Minister's eyeball to eyeball? Why? You are afraid? Or are you so much conscious that he's a Prime Minister, is a God? Before I go to them, then if I say little loudly, perhaps I will be thrown out from there. If you think so, then you are unfit, the Chief Minister. You must have the courage, but your transparency, your cleanness should be in you. We watch you, you head of the government, your staff, your ministers, your peon, your LDA, your secretary, your engineers, chief engineers, director, and all other the government hierarchy. We expect the same thing. So when you have a courage, when you are free from any corruption, you have got the guts to say, and the eyeball to eyeball, you can talk to the Prime Minister, you can talk to the Home Minister. There is a human being. You are the Prime Minister of Manipur. Chief Minister of Manipur means you are a Prime Minister. And he is a Prime Minister. No, let us not disrespect. No, not this one. A man should behave like a man. A man should be allowed to freely talk, provided if you are free from any kind of unbecoming behavior, provided if you are free from any corruption, provided if you are sincere and you are dutiful and you have done a lot of developmental activities in your state. Government of India is watching every moment about the government's performance and the people's. Why to speak the government? We people too. There is all the central government agencies are like a drone. They are watching you. Their minute-to-minute programs sending, communicating about the government, about the head of the state, head of the government, and army, paramilitary forces, police, and public people. Every minute-to-minute they are sending it. So this is what. Transparency should be there. And about the leadership, we know, we have spoken enough, but this is something what we talk today, tomorrow everything will go in vain. So it is, there is no meaning at all, except or urging and appealing to the government. Let any party come to form the government, let the Congress or let the BJP government. For us as everybody, leaders are all our God. You are not Chief Minister, you are our God. If you are a God, then we must come and pay to you respect. We must bow down to you. But if you are not God, if you become a madman, if you are selfish, then we go on talking about you all the ill words. This is, we don't want to talk. We don't want to behave in a very unbecoming way. So Amrita, our system is quite different. Our MP, once elected, they are Raja for 5 years.
Yes, so
we cannot spell their name.
I think you have mentioned a very good point, that you just brought out a very stark contrast between Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur. Two MPs who was elected on BJP ticket, and two of them both from the northeast. And you mentioned that in Arunachal Pradesh there are now 3 airports. Because it's the same seat, one seat. I'm not meaning the numbers of the Arunachal or Manipur, but what one Kiren Rijiju can do for his state, one MP from Manipur can also do the same thing for the state of Manipur. But however, during the past 5 years, we have not seen any such actions from our elected MP from Manipur in the past 5 years. That's what I think. That is indeed a very good message to send out also from today's episode for the voters, whoever will be watching us again today. So on that note, I'd like to move on to Oja Rinku before we come to the end of this episode. I'd like to know from you, Oja Rinku, that the scheduled tribe demand has been very popular in Manipur since the past year, even many years before that, but especially triggered since the last year's incident. And also regarding the Manipur issue, that Manipur, the instability, and also other issues from the other communities as well. Do you think all of this would be reflected in the BJP vision document or their manifesto? Because recently the center has comprised a committee led by Rajnath Singh ji, and they have been discussing about releasing a manifesto. So do you think the top leaders of the state of the BJP party will consider the situation in Manipur in their vision document? What do you think about that? Ajarinku, you're on mute again. Okay.
We have to wait and watch on what the vision document of the BJP is going to tell about the people of the state. We already know that there is a huge demand for the implementation, for the enlisting of the Meitei communities to the scheduled tribe list as per the Constitution of India. So we know that is not in the hand of either in the state government or either in the central government. It has to be decided by a committee whether the Meitei people should be included in the ST or not. It should be decided by a committee with the reports that we have to submit to them.
Okay.
That the government of Manipur need to submit that we have a very strong reason to tell the people of the to the commission that Manipuri, particularly the Meitei communities, have every right to include themselves as a ST list in the ST list. That is to be decided by the people there who are running these issues. So to me, it is not an issue that frankly talking, that I don't want this issue to be bring along with what has been going on in the state of Manipur, because already people of the state know that it is not the ST issue that sparked the violence here since May 3. It is not the demand of the Meitei people to include themselves in the ST list that has sparked this issue. It is the interest of certain people that sparked this issue. We already know this. And ST demand for the Meitei people have nothing to do with the present violence here. We already know that. If it cares, ST demand has to do with this crisis, then there would have been a lot of conflict between other communities who are already ST here. So the demand of the Meitei ST and the whatever happening here has nothing to do. We cannot correlate it with this, even though it's sparked from a day that they have organized a rally against the demand. It is not, they are simply diverting this issue. Then we cannot simply bring this issue together with this. And to be very frank, let me tell you, there is a heavy demand of the Meitei tribe union or Meitei union, anybody to organizing a massive campaign demanding the people, urging the people to demand their rights for inclusion of the Meitei people to the ST list and to support a candidate whoever supported this. These are political nature. These are democratic natures. Everybody has a right to demand anything, urge the government anything, and they have every right. This is not violate the political rights of any people. So it goes on. It will keep on continuing it, and we don't have to worry about why this demand has been why is it going. It has nothing to do with what is this. Whatever happening, the present imbroglio,
just 5 minutes.
The state of Manipur is something that has to be a serious concern of every citizen, and we know that this election will be like a referendum on to decide whether the people want peace, or whether people want to restore the similar Manipur, the idea of Manipur, whether people wanted to restore that idea of Manipur, or whether people wanted a different Manipur from what we have been seeing now. That is what we have to think now. That is my last comment.
Thank you for your very strong reactions, very strong comments. Indeed, the people who are watching today, this episode, they truly need to hear what our panelists have to say regarding this topic. As we have come to the end of this topic, that is the manifesto war in relation to the ongoing Lok Sabha election, I'd like to summarize that our panelists have put forward that manifestos are not necessarily just false promises. Instead, these are the intentions of the candidates or the parties, what they wish to do for the people if they are elected, and they do provide a glimpse of the next 5 years, of what the next 5 years would be like, and that it gives the power to the people if they do not like what they read or what they hear, that they can vote for someone they prefer or they align their ideologies with. And especially not to forget the independent candidates this time. They also they emerge, as our candidates have provided, they emerge because they are a spokesperson, so to speak, of local issues that has been troubling the state since the past year, almost a year. And the people, the voters, they do need to take into account all of these considerations and vote responsibly. So with this note, I'd like to thank our panelists.
So, Amrita, sir, can I take 1 minute, if you permit? One minute.
Sure, just 1 minute, and then we will end this
program sure,
today.
Sure, very kind of you. While endorsing the statement given by the Rinku, I would like to endorse him.
Okay.
See, scheduled tribe, we were a scheduled tribe, we shall be scheduled tribe, this is our birthright. Because of some Manipuri leaders, after conversion to Hinduism, we developed a different attitude. This is our own fault. No Nagas, no tribal, they have objected earlier, our own people, they created a havoc. That's how we are suffering it. Today, in contrary, our tribal leaders would like to appeal to you. You have suggested earlier, we did not bother it because of our forefathers, their mistake. In a state, all people, we should live cohesively in a very congenial atmosphere. We want to live it. So in our own demands, just for the scheduled tribe, so that we can live with along others group in this such a huge country, getting some their rights or some help. Not that we are extorting from you, nor we are extorting from you, or nor we are chopping your hands that we impute that in our hand we fit. No, let us live together. Your demand, whatever for the tribal community, what deserves, we wholly submit. Whole 50, 60 years, you should get it. When we demand for the scheduled tribe, we hope that you will not raise this voice, and that you should allow us to live together in equality. So there was one word I had been raising at time and again. Apna desh mein hame pradesh banaya. In my own country, erstwhile country, we have become a beggar. We are homeless. Is it practicable? No. We will be trying, and we hope all the tribal leaders, our friends, they will cooperate wholeheartedly, and let us live harmoniously. This is what I would like to appeal and pray to everybody. Thank you, Amrita. Very kind of you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, the closing remarks from Ojapi Sonamani, that is coexistence and also self-reliance of the Meitei people is what...
Certainly.
Yes. Indeed, as we have come to the end, we would like to wrap up today's episode. I would like to thank our panelists, Ojapi Sonamani and Rinku Khumukcham, for kindly gracing us with your thoughts and your comments regarding this topic. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Amrita.
I would also like to thank our viewers for tuning in tonight. Please leave your comments and feedback with us. We will be returning again next Monday with more topics related to the social issues of the state. On that note, I'd like to sign off. This is Amrita, and have a good week.